On the island of Newfoundland, upon the southwest coast, lies the little town of Virgil, to whom I'll sing this toast. There are so many highlands that lie just off her shore, and when the cold north wind blows, you can hear the billows roar. The people from the village make their living from the sea. They like their independence, it shows that they are free. Some fish in their small boats in the wind, the rain and sleet, while others make their living on the offshore trawler fleet. They've known their share of tragedies down through the years, and when the memories overcome, they show their grief with tears. For they have lost some loved ones to the furies of the seas, for heartaches and heartbreaks are locked in memories. This village, it's got beauty carved on its rugged shore. 7 miles of pure white sand, who could ask for more? The mountains and the valleys where the rivers run so fast, and the salmon rise to the sportsman's fly as he makes another cast. Tell the people of this village love their native home, for anyone who goes away most surely will return. Just like that lifelong mystery, the answer you won't know. What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul? What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul?
Good evening and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight in our stories we have Women's Wellness Evening, Value Champion at Foodland, the water tank progress, Internet update. Please stay tuned for these stories after this. Try your luck and play TV Bingo, sponsored by the Lioness. Cards are 6 for $5 and can be bought from any member of the Lioness or in most stores around town. On Monday night, the ALP committee hosted a Women's Wellness Evening. It was the evening where women gathered at a supper of hot roast beef and dessert, which was catered by the Lioness, listened to a guest speaker, Sherry Rombolt, and had a chance to win prizes. All the women received a rose at the end of the evening. Also, there were booths displayed with information vital to women's wellness, and students had written up inspiring messages and poems about important women in their lives. The guest speaker, Sherry Rombolt, spoke on stress management and how to deal with stress. The evening seemed to be enjoyed by everyone there. I noticed on the Foodland billboard a sign congratulating Theresa Simm as a valued champion. I asked Gord about this, and he said that Theresa was selected to be one of 3 finalists. She was chosen out of the criteria of the volunteer she does around town, customer service, and work ethics. She, along with Calvin, Gord, and Sheila, will be going to Halifax for an award gala. If she should win, she will be recognized nationally by Sobeys and win a fantastic prize. There will also be a customer appreciation at the store. Good luck, Theresa. I went up to have another look at the water tank for this week. It appears that 2 more tiers have been added. This work is taking time because it cannot be done in the wet or when the winds are more than 50 kilometers per hour. George Reed, BBS president, along with Dave McDowell, internet manager, stopped by to talk about the proposed internet upgrade. Good evening. In our studios tonight, I have the president of the BBS, Mr. George Reed, and the internet manager, Mr. Dave McDowell, and they're going to talk about the internet upgrade. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So you guys are in the process of getting ready to do another internet upgrade?
Yes, yeah, we've hopefully be a half decent major upgrade, but we've started this in 2001, and it's been a upgrading process up to this point. We're still upgrading, and haven't reached where we want to be yet, and probably even this might not reach where we eventually should be. But we've been over, well, I guess I can't put no time limit on it, because from the 2001 till we got the system overhauled there by investing about $90,000 into it and putting in all new gear, and then a continuous thing after that, putting in another $50,000-$60,000 to upgrade it. Of course, found out that the system's working very well, but it's not working to the satisfaction of the customers. And if it's not working to the satisfaction of the customers, then you got to continually try to improve it. I'd like to acknowledge at this point that we did receive a petition from about 100 and so customers who are disgruntled with it, and in fact, probably would put my name on the petition myself if I was using the computer, because they're not satisfied with it. We're not satisfied with it, and we haven't stopped trying to seek solutions to it. But like all major upgrades or all major investments, it requires a fair bit of capital investment. Okay. And like I said, in the past 5-6 years, we put in, I would say, close to $200,000, and the upgrade we're trying to go do now probably run in anywhere between, say, 50 to 100,000, depending on what the final numbers will be at the end of the day. So we've been trying to get access to that kind of money now for the past year. We've canvassed the provincial government, the federal government, the CBDC, which is another federal business bank, and our local bank, the Bank of Nova Scotia. In the meantime, we've got I suppose tentative agreements that we can access money through any of these 4 sources. In the meantime, we've been also wrestling with how to upgrade the system, whether we would upgrade it all wirelessly, or whether we would use the cable system that we got in town to put the internet on the cable. Dave will talk about that later when he talks about his technical thing, and he found out over the past year, and it's taken this long to do things. You just can't snap your fingers and get things done. It just doesn't happen in the real world as much as we would like for it to, but it doesn't. But he's got enough information now that he's recommended that we go with the cable system, that we'll put our internet in the television cable. Okay. And with that, there should be reliability with the speeds, whatever the speeds is that he'll end up getting at the end of this upgrade. So that's going to take place. Well, as I speak, it's taking place. We've got to order equipment in order to what they call sweep our lines. When we upgraded our television wire back in the 90s,
I think that was over $250,000, money of which we got from ACOA and some that we invested ourselves. We put in a good cable system. I think it's 750 megahertz cable system. System's got ability to transfer signals both ways. So now they're telling us our system is capable of handling internet. But the boys, Dave and Claude, has got to work at that to see whether or not there's any problems with that. Again, I'll let Dave talk about that. But we have to buy equipment in order to do that. Today, that's being ordered. So the board last night in the meeting, last night, that was Tuesday night, the board made a decision that they would go with the signal going into the cable. That was the board decision to go that route, which was, of course, the recommendation of from our technician, Dave. How much is it going to cost? Well, I think I mentioned it. Probably anywhere between 50 to 100,000 when you put the numbers together. Where we're going to get the money? Well, it'll be from the four sources I talked about, either one of them, or we do have some working capital ourselves. So we'll use as much as we can of our money and borrow as little as we can. But we got to keep the company in a good cash flow, so we might have to borrow something. I also would like to say too, there's a lot of customers out there who are under an impression that BBS is making a lot of money. Now we're taking in money. There is no question about that. But the financial statement is here in town for any customer to come in and look at. It's not a secret. It's the financial condition of this company is audited every year by Bonalco and Janes. They do the financial statement every year. It's a audited statement. And I'm sure Mr. Janes is the one who does it, and he's quite capable of finding every cent that is in our system. It's there for anyone to come in and look at. They can look at the revenue that's coming in. They can also look at the expenditures that's going out. What people seem to me get confused with and don't understand is that the revenue that comes in, there's expenditures that got to go out. And in the most all of the years that I've been here, they've been pretty much balanced. There hasn't been very much to play with in relationship to revenue over expenditures. We do have a lot of expenditures. The expenditures of running the cable system, and particularly the expenditure of running the internet, is very, very high. And the amount of money that we're left with at the end of the day is not very much to play with. And this is why the upgrades have been taking so long, is trying to get a source of money without going too far in debt. On the other hand, of course, not many companies will loan you money if you're going to go too far into debt. You have to prove that you can repay before they'll loan it to you. So, like I said, I can appreciate where the customer is coming from when they're upset. And I would be one of the first ones to be very upset. But the board of directors have been working their hardest, and so have the technicians. The workers have been working their hardest to try to improve this. Hopefully this time around that it'll make a major improvement. So Dave can tell you about the technical part of it.
So Dave, what is this upgrade going to consist of?
Well, one of the things that a lot of people come to me about is, why haven't we been going into the cable system? One of the things that we've been doing, and in order to get into the internet in the first place, the money that ACOA gave us was a regional pot of money. So the money that we got to start the internet in Burgeo, whatever we did in Burgeo, we had to do in Ramsey, Grey River, and Franceway. So whenever we went to them and talked about money, if we mentioned cable, we wouldn't get any money, because we don't own a cable system in Ramsey or Grey River and Franceway. We had to use a technology that everybody could use. Okay. So when they gave us money, they said, we're going to give you money for wireless gear, because you can use the wireless gear in Grey River and Franceway and Ramsey and those places. So if we mention Burgeo, just cable, then you're not getting any money because it's not regional anymore, right? And the ICT project, right from the get-go, was a regional project that brought video conferencing to those communities and all that kind of stuff, so as a regional thing. So we couldn't come in and say, listen, we want some money to upgrade our internet in Burgeo. We had to ask for money to upgrade the whole system. Now, because the ECOA has said, no, they're not giving us any money, and George referenced the fact that we're going to the bank, we're going to, and they're all lending. Right? No one is giving us money. It's lending money that we had to borrow back, pay back. Well, the board of directors has decided that, listen, we're not borrowing the money. We can spend the money the way we want to spend it, and they're spending it in Burgeo, on Burgeo's network. So this loan and upgrade is strictly for Burgeo. Now, the other communities will benefit because when we turn off the wireless gear that we have here, we can reuse the wireless gear in Ramsey and Graver. So yes, there's an indirect, but in the long run, Burgeo will get a better system. The thing is, there are a number of customers in town that can't see the tower. Some people have antennas sticking on poles up over the side of their houses and stuff. They can take that down. Anybody in town that has access to the cable, which is everybody, then they will have access to the internet. And when everything's all said and done, according to the research that and the experts that we're talking to, that everybody should get the same speed, and that's one of the things that we're stressing. We're not really pushing the high speed. We're stressing the consistent speed, right? And most of the things that I'm hearing that around is like, okay, I can download 50K at a time sometimes, but sometimes I'm only getting 20K, right? And most people are upset because it's going all over the place. And what they want is not really fast enough, but really consistent, so that anytime they get on, they get the speed. So what we're going to do is what we've asked the engineers and we've looked at is that we want to get like around a meg down and 256 up, which is almost double what you're getting now on a good day, and double upload. So that's what we want consistently, and that's where we're going to start, and that's what we're aiming for. And now, if we get the whole system put in place and that works, then we might turn it up more. And one of the good things about putting it in cable, but the wireless stuff, in order to upgrade it, again, you had to buy more wireless radios. With this stuff, the gear can be upgraded without buying any extra gear. It's just a matter of turning up the software and playing with the gear that you have. So the gear has better capabilities, right? Okay. So that's the advantage of it, so that we should be able to say upgrades are done. Right? So now we can buy the bandwidth, the more bandwidth we buy, we won't have to upgrade anything here in town. And that's where we're looking at, and that's the major advantage. But it's for Burgeo. Okay. But the other thing that we're looking at as a part of this package is we'll take the antennas off your house and wireless gear and all that kind of stuff, and we'll put cable modems in. So that's where we're headed, into the cable. But the other thing that part of this package is that there's a call center set up. Okay. And the call center is set up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At 10 o'clock at night, right now BBS office is open from 8:30 to 4:30. Okay. Christmas Eve night, you're sitting down on your computer and things is not working right. You pick up the phone, you dial 1-800 number, and someone will answer that phone and walk you through troubleshooting the problem and see what's going on. Now, if they can't fix your problem remotely, then they'll dispatch us to go and fix it or whatever. But the service is there so that you can know what's wrong. So you don't have to wait until it's a long weekend or clouds out of town or whatever, we're on holidays or anything along those lines. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 3 o'clock in the morning, you decide to get on the internet and you can't get on, 1-800, and we'll have those numbers published for people to be able to call up. So you will truly get 24 hours a day, 7 days a week tech support, okay. Right? So that you can phone up and they'll walk you through fixing it. And that to me is a major selling point to the network, right? Now, in order for us to get to that stage, we have, like George says, first of all, when we're talking to this technical company that's going to help us do this, that we have to do a sweep of the network. So what we have to do is go out and check all the cable in town, all the equipment that's up on the poles and everything, make sure that's all working. So from that part of it, that's going to take a bit of time, right? So we'll get around and get all that done. We got the other equipment ordered, but we can't put that cable, internet on the cable until we get the other stuff in and make sure everything's working right. And now, throughout the town, from end to end, you got good cable. So if you have good cable, then you should be able to have good internet, and that's the idea behind it. Now that's the way it works. Now, from everything that we're told, we should be able to get this up and running by Christmas. And that's what we're aiming for, Christmas. The weather will play a role and all that kind of stuff, getting your equipment in. But right now, we're hoping to have a Christmas gift for our subscribers and have it in place. And if we can get it done by the end of November, then all be it, right? But our goal right now is to have it all in place and done by Christmas, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And, you know, I'd like to say too that, you know, I just want to say this because so many people have been throwing it at us that we've been keeping other companies out of virtual to offer internet. It's far from the truth. We've never talked to any companies who want to come here to do internet. So basically we're offering the internet and nobody's ever come in here and say, look, we will put internet in your community. It hasn't happened. So, you know, I don't know where these kind of rumors are coming from. The other thing is, will there be more problems? I'm guaranteed there will be. You know, I mean, we haven't seen our last problem with our internet, even when we get this in place. You know, so the customer is going to have again show some patience, hopefully, and just bear with us as we do this new venture that we're trying to do, in order to upgrade it. You know. And I think the thing that they mentioned there, which is very, very important, is that we got this 1-800 service that every customer will be on the phone. And we're going to pay for that, of course. Every customer that we got will be paying $7 per month to this company in order to monitor our system 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
but we're paying it, not the customer, right?
Yeah, we're paying that. That's not extra. That's an expense that BBS has taken on to do. Right at the moment, we do not see any increase in the rates at the moment. We don't see it. I hate to say anything definitive because it always comes back to bite you. You know, like I will never say, as long as I'm here again, that you're going to get high-speed internet. I don't know what high-speed internet is. There's some technical parameters you got to be into, but I'll never use the word again because people take it too literally, you know. And I don't know whether they know what high-speed is or not, but I suppose there's such a thing out there as high-speed. We thought when we were doing our wireless thing here and upgrading it and that, we were going to end up with much better speeds. So we blabbed out the word high-speed, you know. We'll never use that word again. What we're going to do is improve the internet to the point, hopefully, that the customers are going to be satisfied. You know, that's what we're going to try to do, and that's what we've always been trying to do.
High speed has changed, right? When we started first, high speed was 10 times the speed of dial-up, but now that's not enough. That's changing and floating out, and by the time we get everything all said and done, they might change. High speed could be 50 megs, could be 100 megs. It changes. It's a floating target, right?
It's a word that's out of my vocab.
Yeah.
So, Dave, what kind of equipment will we be getting in our house if this upgrade proceeds?
In your house, there should be a little Motorola modem, but this big, got to be plugged in. That could go right where your internet radio is now, and a Cat5 cable that goes into the back of your computer plugs into the back of that. And if you got a router, when you plug the router into that, and that's it. So the antenna that's on the side of your house is gone. Instead, you have a cable drop, like you do for your cable TV. So the wire that comes into your house just plugs into that guy, same as the plugs into the back of your TV.
Okay, so is it different cable drop than the one that's coming from?
Same drop. No, what we can do is the cable that comes in can carry your TV and your internet at the same time. So when we get it into your house, we split it. One will go to your TV, the other one will go to your internet.
Okay, so will there be a different splitter you need for that, or?
We'll provide that stuff. We'll look at that when we comes to your house or whatever, right?
Okay.
So, and I'm sure that the board will give us some type of guidance when we're starting to do the rollout and how we're going to go about doing it. But right now we don't even have the equipment. That's a month or so down the road, right? Before we actually come to your house and start doing that, right? But we certainly will be making arrangements to get that done, right?
And Dave says it might be a Christmas gift, but I've been in this stuff long enough that it might be Easter gift. You know, so don't get hung up on Christmas and say, comes Christmas Day, you ain't got it. Start ringing the phone and say, you promised the Christmas.
Well, there's no promise. We're aiming for Christmas.
We're aiming for Christmas.
We're aiming for Christmas, right?
You know. But you know, the boys will be working as hard as their cable working at it. There's no doubt about it. And we will put this in place as fast as we can put it in place. There's no doubt about it.
So once this all gets done, like, what kind of effect will it have on our cable? Like, will it decrease? Will it stay the same, or shouldn't see no difference?
Shouldn't see any difference. If anything, it should be better, because in order to make it work, we got to sweep the cable system, which means we got to go out and check all of our amplifiers, make sure all of our amplifiers are working, and make sure there's no breaks in our cable. So right now, if there's a break in our cable, your TV might get jumpy when it's windy and stuff like that. But if there's a break in our cable, the internet will not work. So we got to go around, in order to make the internet work, we got to fix the cable so that the cable works perfectly. So by fixing the cable, making it work perfectly, you should get better cable as opposed to worse, right?
So if my cable is, say, snowy right now, and I'll put the internet onto it, I wouldn't get the internet, or?
No, when we come to your house and see it snowy, we would fix that.
Okay.
So by doing the internet installation, then we'd fix your snowiness, because snowiness won't, it means that you got a bad cable or something's wrong there. So you got to have a good cable in order for it to work. So when we come to do it and see snowy on your TV, say, look, there's something wrong here, we'll change the cabling in your house or what needs to be done to get it good, because the internet won't work unless your cable is good. Right?
And I might interject to say, that's something you should be putting up with now. If your television is snowy now, you should be phoning Clyde and simply say, my television is snowy. And he'll come out to check your wiring and check your splitters and that. And if it's a problem with BBS, he'll repair it. If it's a problem with your television, then you have to do something about it. But no customer in town right now should be putting up with snowy television. You should be doing it.
Right.
You should be phoning in and telling them, look, my television system is not working right. It's too snowy and so on and so forth. That will be taken care of. Don't put up with that kind of stuff.
No, there's no reason for you to have bad TV. Right now, there's no reason in the world for you to have bad TV. Right, from our end. That means there's something wrong with a cable or splitter or your TV, and we can come fix it. Our cable system right now, to our knowledge, is working perfectly.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So George, will there be a monthly increase in the bills if this goes through?
Right now, we don't anticipate any monthly increase. And again, I would not say a definitive no, or yes or well. I mean, I'll just simply say, right now, the board is not looking at increasing the rates. As we get into this to see what kind of expense, because expenses budget is one thing, but the actual thing is, it's a different piece of cake altogether. If the thing comes in under budget, which very rarely do, then we'll be in good shape. If it comes in over budget, then we're going to have to go to the financial institutions and borrow the required amount. We have to keep cash flow for the company. And then our ability to repay, of course, you got to look at that. And we will not, we, the board, will not increase rates if they can get away by not increasing rates. The company is not here to make a whole mess of money. The company here is here, always been here. And I suppose that's probably one of the reasons why we haven't probably progressed faster, because I'm sure some private company would say, well, $29.95, we can survive on it, like television, 22, whatever it is, we can survive on it. But if we want to make a Cadillac system, let's pump it up from $29.95 to $39.95 or $49.95, and you lose so many, but you get, you retain and so on. There's a diminishing returns where you the number that you would lose, but at least you could put in a system much faster, better. The board has not been the concept of the board. The concept of the board is that they will keep the prices as low as possible and give you the best service. Albeit the service in the internet hasn't been the best. There's no doubt about that. Everybody would agree with that. But nevertheless, the price hasn't went up either. The board doesn't see any increases in the future, unless, of course, it proves to us that we can't operate with what it is.
Like, ever since we put the internet in Burgeo, 7 or 8 years ago. $29.95 was a rate. We never ever charged anybody for any equipment. We never charged anybody for any upgrades or anything along those lines. The rates has always been $29.95. Most companies offer an introductory rate, and then after 3 or 4 months they up you. Our rate has been $29.95 right from day one, right? And if your equipment gives out, we go and replace the equipment, and there's never been any charges on it. And even when we did, like 3 years ago, we had $90,000 upgrade. We didn't charge anybody any extra money or anything for that. Now, so right now, the way our budget is worked out, that we should be able to do the upgrade without changing the rates at $29.95. Now, that's the way the budget is. Like George said, if it goes over budget, then we might have to scratch heads and figure out where the money's coming from. But right now, with the figures that we have, and barring any major unforeseen circumstances, that we should be able to handle and stay par at $29.95.
And I would just like to say again, unless you got any question, but the financial statements are here in the office. If anybody want to come in and look at the last 10 years or whatever number of years they want to do, feel free to do it. You know, they have the right to do it. And I would encourage anyone to come in and say, could I look at the financial statements? They have been approved by the board of directors, and they were done up by chartered accountants. So if they want to come in and have a look at, absolutely, feel free to do so.
Okay, very good. You have anything else to add, Dave?
No, it's just I'm looking forward to having a better service for everybody, because if there's anybody in Burgess that has worked hard to try to get this working right, it is me, and with the help and support of the board of directors. So I'm really pleased that they're coming on board to take the risk to try something different and put it into the cable and move forward and help solve the problem. So for that, I thank the board for moving in what I see is the right direction.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so much for you both coming in and explaining it all to us.
Well, you know, I just hope it's clear enough that people will understand. And if some people don't, then others do. And please explain it to the other people what we just said. You know, if some people can't understand it or can hear us well or whatever the case may be. You know, but hopefully, I would like for every customer out there to understand what we're doing with the internet and where we're trying to go, and of course I think the government, the last announcement that I've heard from the government, that they're supposed to have all the rural communities hooked up by 2012, and at that point in time there might be somebody else in Burgess offering internet, you know, so they might only have to suffer this for 2 more years if it doesn't get any better, you know, that type of thing. You know, but you know, nobody's in there now trying to offer it. That's all I'm saying, you know. And hopefully your company will be able to provide what you require in the internet with this upgrade. I just hope that this is the final answer to it, you know. I'm sure it'll need improvement as time go on, but I hope that this is the answer to the problems that we've been having.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, thank you both so much. This concludes our program for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.